In this episode of the Let's Assess podcast, we're going to dive into essential mods for Ski-Doo going into the winter of 2025-2026. Let's jump right into it. All right, guys, welcome back to yet another episode of the Let's Assess podcast. It is late fall. We're back in the shop. We're still talking about mods because we aren't riding yet. And I thought, what a great idea for AJ to tell you guys about his experience spending a full year on the Ski-Doo, putting over 2,000 miles on it.
Yep.
And with that, you guys like when we talk about mods, so we wanted to jump into that. But before we do so, please like, subscribe, share to a homie. It will be on Spotify or your favorite podcast streaming platform. And links to book for Powderbound to come to this very shop and ride with AJ and Marcus. Blackbird merch, those links will be in the description. So let's
go on, order a hoodie, buy a hat, book a trip, whatever. It all supports us, helps us keep these going. So thank you to everybody. And like BC said there, go subscribe and like and follow us along on the journey.
Yep. All right, Edge. So you went to the Ski-Doo side of things for last year. We've talked plenty about that over the last year of shooting podcasts. So before I dive into the mods, I want you to talk about this. List, no pressure, but list a couple things that you think the Ski-Doo did extremely well compared to the Polaris, and then list a couple things that even when you got used to it, because I know it took you a while to get used to it, even once you got used to it, you just feel like it didn't do as well as a Polaris.
Okay.
And I say that because no matter what sled you're on, every sled has its own set of weaknesses. It's like a truck or anything else. And then after you do that, we'll dive into the mods you made and kind of your thinking in fixing the problems that you saw.
Yeah. Okay. So number one thing that I actually liked, like the attribute of the chassis that I really did like once I got comfortable with it, was the way that it likes to wheelie. So it seems like with our new age like riding style of wanting to do twisters and all sorts of things, having the skis light is helpful. And for the Ski-Doo Turbo especially, it just likes to wheelie all the time. So if you have that limiter strap in the long position, it just wheelie. So I thought that was one of the best attributes that it had, was that it just always was like skis in the air. And then once I've learned how to like position it where I wanted it to, then it was effortless to do a lot of things because the skis were just already in the air. You didn't have to pull, you didn't have to give it more throttle or anything. Like it just really likes to go with the skis in the air.
Do you feel like that was a downfall?
So where that becomes a downfall is on really steep terrain and side hilling. So, and this is where I'll give Polaris the credit, and where I'd still love to have a Polaris is, say you're going side hill across very steep hill, got trees, obstacles. The Ski-Doo with the skis in the air likes to go uphill because it constantly is running to kind of just pull you uphill because you're in that wheelie. Now when you want to like slow down and go downhill, it's really, really hard to get the Ski-Doo to want to go downhill. So what you end up doing is kind of like wheelie hopping downhill almost, or you really have to like emphasize and shove that front end and get it to like slide down. But usually if you do that in a slow motion, then you just like wash the back out and it doesn't really work. So the crow hop wheelie downhill is pretty much like the best option there. So I would say in those situations, if you're just side hilling, going across something, not trying to climb, that's where the Polaris definitely outshined. And the Ski-Doo, I never ever got it to solve that issue.
Okay. Do you feel as confident on a Ski-Doo as you did in as on a Polaris in technical stuff?
After last winter, I do. I feel like I would take a Ski-Doo into the gnarliest terrain just like I would as a Polaris. I'm confident that I can get it in and out of there now. At the beginning of the season, there was definitely hesitation there. I would say the steering honestly has a lot to do with that. So just trusting your muscles to know what to do in that situation, right? Because you're kind of, not that you're going fast, but you have to keep momentum on your side. So knowing that you can trust that your body's going to do what the sled needs it to do what you want to do.
Right.
And that's where like having a few 100 miles under my belt is where I started to gain that. But I still think I could probably hop on a Polaris and after like riding it up the trail and getting into stuff, probably adapt right back to it just to be able to get into that gnarly terrain again with it. I think the Ski-Doo takes a little more like, oh, I got to train this muscle memory of like,
yeah,
you have to use a lot of rider input, right? The Polaris is very like do with your feet pressure. And the Ski-Doo is like, we are cranking these bars and we are really giving it a lot of rider input from your upper body.
Yeah.
So
But performance wise, after you got comfortable, you feel like the Ski-Doo's right with the Polaris.
yeah, honestly, like I would say I would probably put up my stock Ski-Doo Turbo against 100 LL like tuned Polaris, like just runability, pull and go, you know, the reasons we do the Vogue 100 LL tune, the Ski-Doo comes out of the crate ready to go.
Yeah.
And obviously, yes,
But even like chassis wise,
I am well aware power wise, like, yes, we're probably not 100 LL Polaris, but
right.
The things that it does, the way the chassis works with the power that it has, I would say it's as capable as a tuned Polaris. I don't think the stock Polaris had the same runability. Like it didn't have the power to lift the skis in those situations. It had that bog on the bottom, you know, so it just didn't have that ability to do what the Ski-Doo does out of the box.
And even from a chassis perspective.
And I think that just like, that is what sets the chassis up, is you have that power from the bottom end to get the chassis to do what you want it to. So I do think that the Ski-Doo, it kind of blends into the chassis. From a shock standpoint for the chassis, the Ski-Doo Expert had a 10 times better shock package than the Polaris Chaos does. I mean, for the 25, I was very, very impressed with the Expert shocks. I was very good. I think the free rides probably are also, it's a very similar like stiffness on those shocks. So I think the free rides would probably be good. I'm not sure about the Summit X's. They might be, I know they're probably softer because they're just a monotube. So they'd be more along those lines of a Polaris probably.
Okay.
Yeah. But chassis wise, I was very, very impressed with it once I got going. I didn't do much chassis change. But as we dive into this list, that's definitely where we're going to start fixing some issues.
Right. And let me just say this. This podcast is made up of our opinions and AJ's, mainly AJ's opinions.
Yeah.
So it's interesting for you guys to hear a different opinion.
This is what I did last winter. Like this list is literally exactly what was on my sled last winter and what I did trying to fix some issues. And most, if not all of these things will be on my sled this winter again.
Yeah. Real quick, did you touch on what you think it didn't do? Oh, the wheelie. Or no, you like that. What's something that you don't think it does well?
So it was just mainly like that handling characteristic in the steep terrain where it just likes it, where it does like to wheelie. It's like the attribute of it and the bad part of it that like it always wants to be front end high. I'd say it's just the heaviness of the back, right? Like, and that's, I haven't solved that problem yet, but I think it's just really heavy in the back. When you put a Polaris and a Ski-Doo beside each other, it seems like a lot more of that weight of the Ski-Doo, it's like lengthened out more, it looks like, and that weight is leaned back. So I think a lot of that weight is on the track, where this Polaris is a little more balanced and that weight's a little more forward.
Yeah, which is really weird because if you look at, you know, we've talked about this a lot. If you look at a ski where it's actually touching the snow on a Polaris, the rider's foot on a Polaris is way further back.
Way further.
Than where the foot of the Ski-Doo rider is in relation to the ski.
Yeah.
So you would think that you'd almost have the opposite problem.
You would think so.
And that's what I'm wondering, like, is it weight? Is it,
Could be geometry in the way that the
Yeah.
way the skid works, you know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that is definitely like one of the drawbacks I did find in it. And it was really hard for me to find drawbacks last winter. The one thing, I guess another thing that goes on top of it that it really did not do well was spring riding.
Yeah.
I got better at it. Yes. Is it doable? Yes. But like when we were in alpine riding and like we'd be side hilling across a hill or just cutting across a meadow and there wouldn't be like fresh snow to dip into turn and stuff, catching old tracks and like it just upsets that chassis so much that like that springtime is not, I definitely would say is not like prime ski-doo time for sure.
No.
They are very deep snow specific, I would say.
Yeah, and I think that's been a problem with them forever.
Yeah.
I mean, well, for a really long time. I mean, I felt the same way on the Lynx.
Yep. I think that's just like the Ski-Doo chassis, right? Like
but I think that correlates to deep snow and the fact of, like, I rode that Lynx a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, because that was in the times when snow check was so late.
Yeah.
My sled was super late coming in. So I had ridden that Lynx for quite a...
You had like
more
700
than enough.
miles on it, yeah.
Yeah, more than enough to say, oh, you're just not used to it.
Yep.
And it had its strengths, but I will say it, in my opinion, BRP product does not hold the edge that a Polaris does.
Yep. And
that's in deep, that's in spring. Now, the problem is more pronounced in bad snow conditions.
yes.
And it's not as big of a deal when it's deep.
Yep.
But it's still, in my opinion, for the way that I like to ride, it's still not as good.
I agree. And that's where it just doesn't shine. Like you can tell that Chris Brent developed the Matrix chassis, right?
Yeah.
Like you can tell that's where it shines, is that terrain. It 100% shines there. I didn't even like the Ski-Doo in a flat meadow. You put me in a flat meadow in the springtime and it was just like, I don't know.
It's almost like you have to ski turn.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
exactly. You can't like one ski it on
Yeah.
like hard snow.
There's
so much feedback.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's just
yeah. So is it doable? Yes. There's going to be people in the comments, I'm sure, like you just can't ride. But yeah, I can do it. I don't want to do it. I didn't like it. That's what I didn't like. Coming from a Polaris where I'll ride one ski on the hardest. I'll go do it in the dirt right now, and you don't get any feedback, you know? So it rides very balanced.
But that's like what's really interesting to me about these sleds is the fact that you can sit here, look me in the eyes, and I'm not disagreeing with this. You can say the suspension on a Ski-Doo is better than a Polaris.
Yeah.
But then make statements like that where there's so much feedback.
There's a lot of feedback, yeah.
It's like you wonder, I'm not an engineer, as you guys know. I'm far from it. But it's like, I don't understand that.
How does that correlate?
Yeah, how does it correlate? It's like, I mean, we've put gripper skis on Lynx, and Lynx has a great shock package from the factory, and you still get a ton of feedback.
Yeah.
And it's got to be geometry. It's got to be weight, placement on the chassis.
Yep.
But yeah,
it's got to be like a balance of the weight and then matched with the geometry of how it comes back to the handlebars, right? Like the Polaris has a very dead feel to the handlebars. The Ski-Doo has a very live feel to the handlebars.
Yeah.
The chassis of the Polaris feels very balanced. The Ski-Doo seems very like heavy. You know? And when I say heavy, it just doesn't seem like the Polaris feels very light and like boop, 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 because you can go side to side so easy, where the Ski-Doo is like, you got to work it. It takes a lot of effort from the body to get it to go to side and stuff like that. Like,
and see,
it's very planted.
That's one of the things that like you're talking about. It's very handlebar input reliant.
Yes.
Okay. But here's the thing that, and I agree with you 100%. But the problem is it wants to wheelie all the time.
Yeah.
So that's where with me as a Polaris, like a guy that's used to a Polaris, I get on one of those Ski-Doos and I feel like a complete goofball.
Yeah.
Because it's like, when Marcus rode my sled and I'm in his, we're in a little bowl. We're not in like a flat meadow. Flat meadow, I love them.
It's fine. Yeah.
But then I get in that steep stuff or deep stuff and it's like I pin the throttle, skis come up, I'm doing the same thing with my legs that I do on my Polaris. It's not reacting the same way.
It's not doing anything.
So then I'm going like this. The skis are in the air.
Yep.
And so I'm just like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
You know, it takes getting used to.
And that's just, it's 100%. You got to get used to it and like figure out how your body affects it, and then to make it do what you want it to do. You know? But
and I'm sure Ski-Doo riders feel the same when they jump on a Polaris.
Yeah, I hop on a Polaris now. Like that one day when we were on the ride day, and I hopped on yours, and I was like, I wanted to do a bow tie on it, but I was like, I don't trust myself because I'm just not comfortable like doing it right there. You know, like it wasn't comfortable anymore.
Right.
So give me a warning and we'd be good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, mods.
Okay, so we're gonna do this 3 like low price point, 3 intermediate, and then 3 expensive. I'm gonna touch on each one individually of what it does and why I would do it. So the first 3 things that are a little more affordable. These are affordable, but like necessities in my eyes. So ski rubbers. I don't care what brand of sled you ride. Ski rubbers is the first thing I do. I don't want to be up there dropping a ski and wadding myself over the handlebars. So like very affordable. Throw some ski rubbers on there. It's going to make your experience on the mountain a million times better. The Ski-Doo ski rubbers are just like the Polarises. They're really skinny. I never blew one out, but I never ran a Ski-Doo OEM one. We had them on some of our fleet sleds, and we blew a couple out. So I don't like running stock ski rubbers. They're too soft and they break, and it's just not a good experience. Go to a full width one and be happy up there.
Yep.
Second thing would be Seco seat cover. I know you've touched on this in other podcasts. It's nice having that grip there. I like to grip with my legs when I'm jumping, when I'm doing anything really. I like to really grip with my legs and keep my feet planted on the running boards for control. So that gives you some place to grip. There's not a lot of gripping on the Ski-Doos. It's pretty slick and tapered. It kind of wants to eject you up. So that seat cover is kind of a last stop. Like you can actually grab that thing.
But AJ, you should never sit down when you're mountain riding.
Yeah. I love sitting down and going down the trail.
Yeah, me too.
No, and that's the other place. Like when you're at the end of the day and you're driving down the trail and it's whooped out and you're just nut to gas tank, nut to gas cap, you know, like, yeah, it's nice having that grip.
Yep.
It doesn't ice up. If your ass gets icy, it still will grip on that seat cover. Just a very affordable, good thing that's going to help you, or not help you, but just make your experience better, I feel like.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of affordable things in the snowmobile industry. You're going to find that.
Yeah. Even ski rubbers are like, what, $100?
$100, yeah. What's in the seat covers, 100, 150, something like that.
Yeah.
The next thing, this is the most important, in my opinion, on a Ski-Doo. If I had one thing that I had to do, no matter what, I'm putting handlebars on it. The stock riser is too tall.
Yes.
The handlebars themselves are actually decent. You could get away with just literally doing a riser. So
that's what I did on my Lynx.
Yeah,
it's just a riser.
I'll put that out in the universe. Like the handlebars are a small diameter. You can get a good grip on them. You can put new grips on them to help the feel of what you like. But the biggest thing is drop that thing to a 2 or a 3 inch riser. I ran a 3 inch. I'm 6'1", and I ran a 3 inch. We had a sled with 2 inches on it. I didn't hate it. It just felt maybe a touch low for me. I could definitely ride it and have no problem. So if you're around that 5'10", 5'11" range, I'd say 2 inch, you're going to be just fine. But I was very happy with the 3 inch. It gives you a lot more control just dropping those down. That it's over 4 even. It's like a 5 inch that comes on it or something. And it gets them up there. It puts them in a weird position, and it's awkward. It's like it's in your neck all the time. It felt like when you're riding, because you're always in a wheelie. So
true. That's
where I really didn't like the stock riser. The thing that I know you run these as well, Marcus ran them. We run the RSI Slim Jim. It's a little bit more of a sweep back. Very, very similar to the stock Ski-Doo bar, but it's got a slimmer handlebar spot. That way the the hand warmer thickness doesn't really increase the bar size. It's pretty much the exact same bar size then. I don't have huge hands, and I really like being able to get good grip on it and try to hang on to the thing.
Yeah,
So,
I have big hands and I like it.
yeah, love the Slim Jim. It's also an inch narrower. So I can't remember if it's narrower than the Ski-Doo stock bar or if it's the same, but it's like, it might be an inch narrower altogether. So half an inch each side. I'm a small build guy in the upper end of my body. So I really like bringing that in a little bit too. So that kind of concludes the three cheaper, more affordable ones. But definitely, if I had to pick one of the three, I'd be doing the handlebars 110%. Get that knocked out of the way and run that setup.
Yeah.
Middle price point. This is where it gets hard. These are not in order. I would have a hard time like picking like 1, 2, 3 on these. First one is going to be bumpers though, like front bumper, rear bumper. These stock sleds, they build them super light. I'm going to say from a standpoint of doing re-entries, bow ties, whatever, that back bumper, getting some strength back there so you don't cradle your tunnel. You have your cooler on the Ski-Doo back there, so that's going to protect all of that. And then what I found, and I will never ride a sled without a good strong back bumper, is when you have a bad day on the mountain and you got to pull a snowmobile out, you might be missing both skis on the front end, and you got to put a snowmobile up on that bumper. And I would rather have that bumper taking the weight instead of my tunnel.
A flimsy tunnel. Yes.
And then if you have an OEM bumper, I guarantee the thing's going to break immediately. Like it is not going to take it. I also like the strength that we run the backwoods stuff. So I like the strength that the backwoods gives all the way down the tunnel. It ties it back, all the strength into the rear pivot arm where the suspension gets all the pressure going up on the rear there. So it strengthens that tunnel all through there. It puts the pressure back onto the chassis in a good place, your suspension, everything.
Yep.
So definitely super important. I also like running into and through a lot of trees.
Yeah.
I'm not good about avoiding them. So front
why
bumper,
avoid them when you got a backwoods bumper?
Exactly. That's why we put them on the front.
Run it over.
Backwoods bumper up front. Once again, use it as a brush hog, mow them down.
Yeah.
I was always told if it's smaller than a beer can, run it over. So you can take some pretty good hits with it.
Yeah, I was told the same thing, but sometimes they're way bigger than beer cans.
Yeah, sometimes they're tall boys.
Yeah, or a six-pack.
Yeah, it's a whole six-pack.
Yeah.
That thing didn't mow over. It just kind of wiggled a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Next thing for that price point would be an exhaust can. There's a lot of weight on that right-hand side of the snowmobile, and you can get rid of that, get rid of a lot of heat, under hood heat. That's going to save belt life, everything. Just get rid of some of that heat out of there faster. I feel like not such bulky and so much packing. So you can, whether you go titanium or just a stainless, anything, just save some weight and start getting some of that heat out of the under hood area as fast as possible, and not heat soaking in there as bad when you do stop. So you're not going to gain horsepower by that. If there's a company telling you are, they're full of shit. The goal is to not lose horsepower and save some weight. So look for that in a good muffler. We ran some titanium stuff last year. Was super happy with that. Saved a lot of weight, and it sounds really good.
And looked sick.
Looks good. Looks pretty cool.
How much are one of those cans?
I think they were like $8.50. I'm going to remind everybody on this podcast, and all the aftermarket places are probably going to hate me for this, but like Thanksgiving, Black Friday time is the time to buy a lot of stuff. Like you might like listen to these lists, write it down, and then there might be some sweet deals. If you're at dealer shows, if you're going to like Denver Expo or any of these other ones, maybe check it out, and you might be able to get a really good deal on stuff at those. Generally, the prices are very similar from Expo to Black Friday. But if you're looking for a deal, Black Friday is a great place to do it. Next thing would be lift spindles. I think this was a huge thing for the Ski-Doo handling-wise for me. Stock spindles, it tends to dive a little bit. It wants to just kind of, you let off the throttle, it wants to dive down for some reason, I thought. So the lift spindles got that front end up another 1.25 inches, and it just gets you out of the snow, for one, less resistance. And then two, it didn't seem like when I'd let off the throttle, it didn't want to like dive into the snow at all. It kept that front end up better. So that was a very big like handling thing for me that I noticed. Like,
do you think that increased the ski lift that you're talking about?
I'm sure it didn't help it.
Yeah.
I would be very interested in spending more time on the OEM spindles, you know, to see it truly exactly where. I also felt like when I was doing just like goofing around powder turns and stuff like that, it didn't want to wash out as much with the lift spindles as it did with the OEM spindles. So I think it helped with a little bit of wash and not so much diving. So those were the two attributes I noticed from it. Maybe it was all in my head, the wash, but it really, really felt like it just had more of a stance of like traction on that rear track. Obviously rear track.
Rear track.
It just felt like it stayed on it better through doing that when I was hopping back and forth between the two. So that definitely was like something like you do notice though. Like you spend the money on it, you feel something. It's not just oh, they look sick, you know?
Yeah.
So I ran the ZRPs. Shout out to ZRP. I met them at the Salt Lake City Snowmobile Show last year. He told me, dude, you got to try these. And sent me a set, and quality, exceptional. Took some hard hits on some rocks. Did just fine. Ate them good.
Yeah.
So strong, good spindle. I was very impressed. So check out ZRP. Good price on them too. Okay, now to the more expensive stuff. This was honestly
to the big boy parts.
Yeah. This was honestly where I kind of had a little more difficulty with this list. And this is where we're going to have to get more specific of like, what are you riding? What sled do you have? I had an expert last winter. The suspension, it was a 25 expert. The suspension was amazing. Loved it. On the trail, nice and soft. Jump in, crank that sucker to the third position hard. Took hits good. Powder riding, I'd either have it in soft or middle. And I mean, they just, I was very impressed from a stock shock standpoint. I know the free ride is very, very similar. So I think the free ride, I'd be able to put my name on and say it has a very good stock shock package.
I rode yours down the trail one day and I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
For stock
For
shocks.
stock. Yeah.
Stock shocks, not stock.
Stock shock.
Yeah, no, I thought they were good. They soaked up the bumps pretty well. I didn't jump your sled or do any powder riding or anything, but on the trail, it was much better than a chaos.
Yeah. It doesn't bottom out. Like that was the thing. Like I love that. Like it was the first stock suspension snowmobile that like you go hop on the trail onto something hard and it didn't just bottom out right away. And
that's what
like,
I loved about the Lynx.
Yeah.
The Lynx, dude, was nasty for that. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a guy about this, and gosh, I think it was on Instagram. And he was asking me, he's like, do you really think a Polaris needs Fox shocks? And I'm like, no. I think it does for me, though.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Like, here's the thing. You have to think, okay? Let's say for you, you're what, 170 pounds?
Yep.
Okay. So say you're 170 pounds. Maybe you don't need it.
Yeah.
But if you have a camera case and your guide stuff, maybe now you need it.
Maybe you do.
Because you're cranking those things up and they're really violent feeling. They're so stiff.
Yeah.
But you're still bottoming them out.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. And that's what happened to me on my Polaris. So to me, I think an aftermarket shock, and I know we're not talking about Polaris today, but for me on Polaris, I think it's essential for my situation, the way I like to ride, and my weight, and the weight of my camera box, and everything like that. But the point is, these are all just ideas for you guys to be able to say, hey, I'm 6'8". Maybe I don't need shorter bars.
Yeah.
Or it's all tailored to you and the riding you do and the money you have and what you want to spend.
Yeah.
But like with him, all of these things, as you guys can tell, like he's done it for a reason. And that's where I think it's so essential with sled builds that like you're making your sled build.
You're building it for you.
Not building it for somebody like because someone else thinks that it's great.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
I'm going to say someone's going to comment that like I don't mountain ride to ride the trail.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have to mountain ride or I have to ride a trail to ride the mountain.
Yeah.
Sometimes 4 miles, sometimes 8 miles. It's very dependent around here.
But who really does?
But who doesn't have to ride a trail of some level?
Yeah.
And that's part of the experience for me. And if my snowmobile handles like absolute dog shit going down the trail and it is horrible and I'm not having fun anymore doing that, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy snowmobiling as much.
Because you're mad by the time you get up there.
Exactly.
But dude, think about this.
You're beat up already.
Yeah, but think about this. If, like, I can see from a chassis perspective, but on a suspension perspective, if it can't handle the trail,
it's not going to handle good other places.
Yeah, it's not going to handle anywhere good.
Exactly.
You know?
No, I couldn't agree more.
If you're bottoming the thing out on the trail, what's going to happen when you drop a little cornice and it's a little bit hard down there, or you come into an incline and you G out?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I think it's a very important part of it. Marcus had Fox shocks on his 146, so I did have a little bit of experience with him on the Ski-Doo last winter, not a ton. I will have Fox shocks on one of my sleds this year, so I will get a lot more experience having Fox on Ski-Doo. I'm a huge supporter of the Fox shocks. You ain't going to change my mind on that. I love air shocks. You can fully adjust them. You can make them stiffer, softer, whatever. QS3, you have all your adjustment quick, easy that way without even adjusting air. But I can adjust the air from early snow riding to late snow riding, mid-season, whatever I want to. If I'm jumping and then the next day I'm powder riding, I can change that.
Yeah.
So definitely that's going to be one of my things here is putting Fox air shocks on a Ski-Doo. You're going to have a price tag with that. But I think if you're one of those guys that for the overall experience, you're looking to have a nicer ride, can't go wrong with it.
Yeah.
For me, just like you, I have a heavy tunnel bag on the back with a camera and tools and all sorts of stuff back there. I mean, it's a monster. Yeah. And then my backpack's heavy on me. So, I mean, I'm pretty heavy of a rider then once I'm suited up. So you need good suspension.
But that's just the point too. Like, if you weren't a guide, your whole setup would probably be a little bit different.
Could be very different.
Like, you might be riding a Polaris.
Yeah.
You might not need aftermarket. Like, you know what I mean? Because everything is affected.
Everything changes so much.
Yeah.
Like, this is what tailors to fit me.
Yeah. This is coming, I hate to say this, but this is coming from people that aren't trying to sell you something.
Yeah, I'm not. Like, I literally, like, everything on this list is what I do to, some of this on the high end side is going to be just like splurge 100%. I can't lie. But everything up until this point is something that like I personally have bought and put on a sled and used for many, many miles because I thought it helped or made my experience better up there. And I will stand behind that to the day I die.
Yeah.
I am going to put Fox shocks on a snowmobile this winter to see if that betters my experience. The Expert had awesome shocks. It's looking like we're going to end up with Summit X's this winter. So the shock package isn't going to be as good. Throw a set of Foxes on it. See if it makes it better. So
yeah, and there's a part that I'm not going to say the manufacturer or what it is, okay? But there's a part that I know you don't stand behind, and I know you would not recommend to people. I'm not going to say what it is. You already know what it is.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
But that's like
100%.
I promise you, we're being honest on this stuff.
Yeah, this is as truthful as it can come from us, for sure. Ralphie's coming in to give us a little advice too.
Yeah.
Okay, these next two things are definitely splurge items. I'm going to run a full carbon hood. I got a zero hood. I'm going to try that on a sled this winter. So full carbon hood, it's going to lighten up some of that top end weight.
Gonna make it look badass.
Gonna make it look good. There's a lot of things to do that. Yes. If that's not in your budget, if you're just looking to shave some weight, Carbon Pursuit Headlight Delete is what I ran last winter. Very affordable, very user friendly. Like you can throw that sucker on in an hour. You shave like 3 pounds, or it's either 2 or 3 pounds you shave.
Looks good.
Looks really good.
Yep.
Sure, you don't have headlights now. I don't care. I'm not riding it dark like BC is. I'm a leave early and get back early guy.
Yeah, until
I'm riding with you.
To. Yeah.
Well, until you're not, then you're screwed. I pack a Oxbow with me. But that is like, you can shave some weight, get some really good looks. The Carbon Pursuit Headlight Delete is sick. I loved it last winter. It was super cool. There's one on this Polaris behind us even. He also has some really cool stuff for the Ski-Doo. I'm just going to kind of loop it in here with this of like, if you're doing the Carbon Pursuit Headlight Delete package, you might check out the skid plate and then the brake caliper and chain case guard that he has.
I feel like that would be, if you're a Ski-Doo guy, that would be clutch.
Those guards on the bottom are going to be on both of the sleds this year, hands down. Don't care what the price is. Just protect that down there. There's a lot of spinning and moving pieces down there that I don't want wrecked, and that's a good way to protect it. It's just an extra insurance thing, right?
You don't want to have to call me like Marcus did and say, "Hey, man,
hey, you go grab that sled out of the shop for me." Yeah,
because you're a little late up here. Will you go?
Will you go grab a sled? Yeah. Literally going up the trail, took a little shortcut, wheelied up, set it down, and chain case straight to a rock, and busted it all up, and then his day's done. So definitely, if you're going the Carbon Pursuit route, check all that out. If you're even doing the zero hood, check that stuff out that he has. I would highly recommend that stuff for the underside. That would be the more expensive stuff, just touching into carbon fiber, going down that route.
Weight loss.
Got to go on a diet because I don't want to.
Yeah.
Next thing, I've got a carbon sled, carbon skid on the order. I have not seen it yet, but my thought process behind it is that the ass end of the Ski-Doo is heavy. I'm going to try to fix that with a carbon skid. It might not work at all. I don't know. I've never rode one. I can't give you guys my honest feedback on it, but hopefully after this winter I can.
Do you know what the weight savings are there?
It's a lot. It's over 20 pounds.
Yeah, so regardless if it fixes
I don't know if it's going to fix,
but it's going to feel, the sled overall maneuvering it is going to feel different.
It's going to change something, right?
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's going to change it for better, for worse, or something different. It might just change something about the way the sled works. It is going to change the way the chassis works because it is more of a Polaris style scissor arm in there, and you run actually Polaris length shocks and things in it. So it is going to change.
What if it holds an edge like a Polaris?
Oh man, we'd be sold. I'd have another one on order right that day. So that is the big move I'm making this winter. It's a $4,500 swing. So
plus the hood.
Don't tell me. Don't tell the wife. But no, the carbon sled skid I'm super excited about that. I really think that might solve some of these issues that we've talked about tonight. I'm not telling you to go buy one. I will give you the feedback and the honesty from it once I have it. None of these, I mean, some of these are sponsors, but like none of that. He's not a sponsor of anyway. I paid 100% for that thing, and I want to know what it does. So you will get my true feedback on that if it's worth it or not. Guaranteed.
Okay. That's all of them, right?
That's everything right there. That's all of it.
If you had to pick, you're a do rider, you have to pick 3. Which ones you picking?
All right. It's pretty easy for me. And these are in order of how I would do them as well. Handlebars. I'm doing it. That is the number one thing that helped me getting on the Ski-Doo. It changed the way I ride. It changed the way the sled handled. It put a lot of confidence in me. Number one, handlebars. Get them. As in risers, everything. If you just did risers, you could. But do your handlebar setup. Just do it all. Next thing, ski rubbers. I ain't looking to go up there and wad myself up because I blew a ski rubber out. I ain't looking to go up there, spend all my whole day
With a droopy
ski and not have enjoying life. Like I want to enjoy it while I'm up there. So
Yeah.
ski rubbers, second thing. Third thing, going to be lift spindles. I really, really had a hard time deciding if it'd be bumpers or lift spindles. But I think for you guys, you can make that decision of whether you want to go bumpers or lift spindles, but I'm going to go lift spindles for mine just to the fact, it changed enough of a feel on the chassis that I liked out of it, that it was something that made my experience that much better. I'm going to put spindles on every sled from there. Gen 5 ski wise.
Kind of interesting how it was basically the cheapest ones.
Yeah, it starts, and I think you kind of see that, like the little things that you can do to a snowmobile to make it truly comfortable and functionable are around that 500 and under mark.
God, which is still ridiculous.
Which is still silly.
Yeah.
But you would think, someone would be like, well, why wouldn't you do the carbon sled? Like,
yeah.
No, that's ridiculous. You don't need a whole new skid. That's silly. That is absolutely silly. I am an idiot. Like that is so unreasonable, right? But these little things that just make your experience better on the mountain are what I truly value.
Dude, the way I look at it is and I haven't given this much thought, but it goes rider comfort.
Yeah.
Right first.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, it's brake levers, it's bars.
Yeah.
It's grips on the side, all that stuff.
Yep.
Right. And normally that's the cheapest stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it goes to performance.
Yep.
Which like handling, power, all that stuff.
All that stuff falls
and
in
then
there.
it goes to lightweight.
Yeah. Yep.
That's just for me. A lot of people, it goes lightweight, then performance and comfort.
Yeah.
You see it all the time on Facebook builds.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like you did $14,000 worth of aftermarket stuff, but you have stock bars on. And there again, though, I mean, if you're comfortable with the stock bars and the stock brake lever, by all means run it. But it's like you see it all the time. Like, you have the big bore with the carbon skid and all the stuff, and then you have stock suspension.
Yep. Yeah.
Whatever. Like sometimes, in my opinion, it's a little back-asswards. But if that's what they want,
what suits you, that suits you.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think, and this is a ski podcast, but when I was riding Polaris, I thought the handlebars that came on it, I was like, these are good handlebars. Why would anybody change these?
Yeah.
Till I did.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't mind the Ski-Doo ones. The actual bar,
the bar
I like
itself
better.
is not bad. Yeah.
The rise, though, dude. Oh,
it's the rise.
Manta, it is so tall,
brutal. Yeah.
But like with Polaris, you have kind of in Polaris, you don't have bad grips.
Yeah.
They're not as good as an aftermarket compound because they're softer, and the softer wears out faster.
Yep.
But you have a decent grip, a decent bar, and a decent rise.
Yeah.
Depending on how tall you are.
Correct. Yeah.
But with RSI, or you can get it where it's like really catered to what you like.
Yes.
Do you like a harder compound grip? Do you like a softer
compound? Yeah.
I like soft grips,
soft,
slim bars,
and hot bars, man.
Yeah.
I want them things cooking.
Yeah, and low rise.
Low rise.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
so yeah.
Sweet. Well, hopefully this helps somebody. Hopefully somebody got something from this. If you have questions, don't be afraid to message me at Powderbound Adventures on Instagram or Facebook, anywhere. Give us a call, whatever. But definitely reach out if you have questions on anything there. But hopefully this podcast helps you guys. And like Brent said, that's the honesty. That's what I ran. That's what's going to go on another snowmobile this year. There's a box over here with the stuff from my one last year that's going right on another one.
Yeah.
So.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for watching. Leave any comments you want. Keep an eye out for Q&A on our Instagram pages. Follow us there. Until next time, let her eat.
See ya.